In 2019, it was pretty easy to see why the Buffalo Bills didn't succeed on offense. They didn't have the wide receiving core that they needed, and Josh Allen was a few steps away from taking these big leaps and becoming a true franchise quarterback. Well, now that we're here in 2020 with some new wide receivers such as Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Isaiah Hodgins, our receiving core looks to be a threat and a dynamic force for this offense. But there's some battles going on in training camp. While we're all spectating and watching what's going on, these guys are fighting for a job. And obviously you have your three locks, those being Stephon Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley. Barring something unforeseeable such as a trade or injury, these three are going to be on the starting roster this year. But now looking at the next guys, there's a big bubble of guys that include Andre Roberts, Isaiah McKenzie, Isaiah Hodgins, Robert Foster, Gabe Davis, and Duke Williams. These guys are all fighting for a spot, and there's probably going to be one, maybe two of them that are left out of the bubble. I think there's just going to be one left out. For this year's receiving core, if you're not one of those three locks, you're going to need to have a special talent or special size advantage to put you ahead of the other guys. That's going to solidify your position on this team. Now, what do these guys have? Let's go over them. Andre Roberts, heck of a special teams player. And if you think he's just a special teams player, you should look at what's going on in training camp, because he's catching some balls from Josh Allen. I know it's just practice, but maybe we can see it in a game. Just maybe. Isaiah McKenzie, how about him? To me, he's a gadget player, and he's somebody that you can utilize in many different ways. I don't really see him as a special teams player that's going to return punts or anything, but I can see him as a jet sweep kind of guy. Jet sweeps, fake motions, anything like that, Isaiah McKenzie is useful for. Isaiah McKenzie should be on this roster. Isaiah Hodgins, to me, is a guy that's most likely a lock for this team as well, but I'm not going to count him as one because he's standing in at 6'3", and he's a 6th round pick in our draft. We're not going to waste a draft pick and not even give him a shot, and we're most likely not going to send him to the practice squad for another team to pick him up. I just don't see Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott doing that. I don't see them wasting their draft picks. They're smarter than that, and they're not going to do it. Gabe Davis is another big-bodied guy who was just drafted this year. We're not going to waste our draft picks on players we're not going to keep. There's no point in it. It's stupid, and Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane are smart. They're not going to do it. So don't get your hopes up if you're another team watching this video. Gabe Davis has been a highlight reel all throughout training camp, and he's going to make this roster, and he could be one of the bigger impact receivers on this team this year. Watch for Gabe Davis to be a big sleeper this season. Watch for him to be one of the top 3 receivers on the team. One of John Brown or Cole Beasley might get filtered out if Gabe Davis really, really impresses us. And then there were 2. Duke Williams is going to make this roster, in my opinion. Duke Williams has the size advantage here. Duke Williams was picked up from the CFL. He's a great story that Buffalo Bills fans love. He's an underdog. And you know what? Brian Daboll featured him a lot in that Houston wildcard game. So Duke Williams has a purpose in this offense. And that leaves us with the final cut. And he doesn't necessarily have to be cut. He could go to the practice squad. Is Robert Foster. Why? because to me, nothing really stands out about Robert Foster other than the fact that he had a great chemistry in 2018 with Josh Allen. He certainly looked like he was developing a great chemistry. You saw in that Jacksonville Jaguars game, that huge touchdown, the rocket to Robert Foster from Josh Allen. But Foster really had 3 receptions last year, and he's just been a non-factor since 2018. You can't wait around for someone, just like you had with Zay Jones. He just didn't work out for the Bills. So Robert Foster, I'm hoping for the best for him, but I just don't see it happening this year in Buffalo. I don't see Robert Foster making the 2020 roster. And that's all for this video. Be sure to check out my other stuff on the Bills Bunker. I also have a Maple Leafs Media YouTube channel you can check out. Link to that I'll leave in the description below. Thank you for watching, and see you guys later.